Alright! Welcome back dito sa latest episode ng mga Fuego. Biglang naglabasan ng Chester kaming dalawa. Just to be clear, we are professional people, we're expert people, wonderful people, amazing people. Speaking of amazing people, kasama po natin ngayon, ito yung long-time collaborator friend natin, ang ating fellow Dutertologist, popular expert, and now pundit a la extraordinaire. Ito na, gawin natin yung cheap version ng ginawa niya sa ABS-CBN nung isang araw. Kasama natin si
Grabe.
Professor Clive Arguelles. ¿Cómo está, amigo? Muy bien, muy bien. Looking good, brother. Looking good.
Thank you, Richard.
Ano pa
Ano
nang
ba?
share
Topic
mo sa
natin
akin,
ngayon,
ah?
conclave ba? Conclave?
Oh, no, no, no. Ano, mamaya na yan, mamaya na yan. Actually, interesting si kanina, kasama namin favorite pundit niya, si Ronald. Medyo napunta doon. Sabi ko, wait. Mamaya na tayo dyan, mamaya na tayo.
Okay, mamaya muna,
Oo, ang
mamaya
daming
muna.
mga invested din dyan sa issue na yan, ha? Ay, nako. Anyway, before we go into Italian politics and all of that, which is a long conversation, let's talk about our own version of that in the Philippines. So, Cliff, per my check, parang kayo ang pinaka-latest, I mean, meaning malapit sa election day yung survey nyo. Kasi yung iba are like, uh, parang mid-20s, April 20s, or medyo early April. Kayo hanggang April 30, no? Ang na-cover
Yes,
mo.
no.
So wow,
Sa that.
that's quite close to the race. So just for the purpose of our audience, Cleve, can you give an overview of what does your survey show? And may mga unit din kayo, di ba? For instance, pinakita niyo na 2 out of 5. So umakyat pa sa 40% ang Pro Duterte affiliation. No? So that's quite a huge jump, no? At least compared. I know it's apples and oranges, but Okta, I
Yes.
remember at some point they were down to 15 points. No? So that's a significant consolidation. Can we talk about that, bro?
Yes, sure. And thank you for giving us the opportunity to discuss this with you. So, mag-share lang ako ng aming deck, no. This is also what we used nung aming press con. We had Professor Chulay Tehanki and Dean Gary Junicio as a panelist, no. So, eto. So before the results, so as you've said, no, 23 to April 23 to 30. So this is last week of April. For now, we think kami yung may closest to the election date, but we'll see if there are other surveys that will come out. And then this is a 2,400 sample size, no. It's the biggest for WR numero. So and this is our final survey for this Salalan 2025. 300, actually more than 300 barangays. So also very big number of barangays. So we really hope that this will reflect the sentiments accurately on the ground. So let me start here yung discussion ng ating results, no? So what you see here, ito yung likely winning circle natin based on the survey that we did, no? Again, last week of April. May 15 names, 15 candidates that we think are part of the likely winning circle because statistically, tight din, no? Very packed, no? So at number one, maintaining the number one spot is Representative Erwin Tulfo and 48.7%. That's a statistical tie with re-election ni Senator Bongo. And makita mo na yung rank na to is also the same, no? The last survey that we did was in the first week of April, no? If you see an equal sign here in the graphics, that means na walang change sa rank. So one of the biggest gainers actually is si Tito Soto, now at the 3 to 5 rank, dating Senate President, uh, up by 6 places, up by 6 ranks, no? Siya yung pinaka-biggest gainer sa alyansa, among alyansa candidates, no? And then you have Bato de la Rosa, maintaining his rank, but over time, also one of the biggest gainers. Then you have the Alyansa na, no? So, more and more dominated by Alyansa candidates yung likely winning circle natin. You have Pia Cayetano, Lito Lapid, Ping Lacson, Abby Binay, Bong Revilla, no? Manny Pacquiao also there. Si Camille, ano pa ba?
Bakit si
Saan naman?
Camille hindi orange ang color?
Uh,
Kasi,
Siguro,
I mean, I'm not sure how admin is admin or how opposition is opposition. Yung
kasi
Camille
ang
ako
gulo eh, di
super
ba?
orange.
Kiniklaim pa din eh, na hindi pa daw part
Toby
na
lang naman. Si
din ng
Toby.
alyansa eh, di ba? So, medyo kailangan yan muna official eh. Then you have the independent candidates, Ben Tulfo, 6 to 7. Amy Marcos is at 13 to 14. So actually, um, tumaas sa last na survey namin si Amy Marcos, but not enough to put her on a safe spot. As you can see, up 2 places, but still, nasa patayan na spot, no? 26.4. And if you look at yung mga next place dyan, Manny Pacquiao, 26.1, Kiko Pangilinan, 24.5, and then sa taas niya, Bam Aquino, 28.5. So ito yung state so far.
So, but Tito Soto was around top 3 to 5 last year pa, no? Doon sa ibang survey na nakita ko. So, more or less, he's inching back, di ba? Top 5 na siya last year. Nakita, I mean, maybe not your survey, but so basically, he's going
Yeah,
back
so
to where he was.
it's possible na yung mga past surveys namin nakaka-capture namin yung lower bound ng ano niya no ng voter preference kasi yan yung in-explain ko eh. You know, sometimes may kita mo medyo iba-iba yung rank ng mga kandidato pero that means that you know you might be getting the lower rank. Nakita ko halimbawa Paul Seisha has really high numbers for Bongo. Maybe that's the upper kind of like the upper bound na na-catch nila, 'di ba? But somehow it will stabilize somewhere and it looks like nga si Tito Soto talagang medyo nasa third spot siya, no? If not
Because it matters, right? Sorry for cutting you, Cliff. Kasi sorry kay no, Kilay Boy. He looks like the next most likely. Hindi naman kasing ganda ng kilay natin, Cliff, pero in fairness, si outgoing Senate President. I'm just kidding. No, it looks like Tito Soto will most likely be the next Senate President. No, the one I want to focus on, bro, because Cliff, the previous one we had, episode we had together was on Uni Team, right? Looks like Amy is not doing too bad. Baka nga, in fairness naman, na mukhang Sarah is helping her. At least she went 2 spots up. How many percentage points yung akyat ni Amy?
yeah, just a bit actually, no. I think mga ano lang din, no, 1 or 2 percentage points, no. Just enough to get her to move some places. Pero ito nga eh, I think tinitingnan ko lang yung numbers, may bump both si Amy and then si Camille, you know, maintaining the rank. May bump and then you know, as a result of the endorsement maybe kasi yan yung isang biggest na political development between the last and this
Right.
survey. Pero mukhang hindi enough, hindi ganun kalaki. Kasi, you know, if it's a game-changing endorsement,
That's
you know,
important.
dapat nasa safer seats na sila. And again, to me, measure pa din dito ay what is Imy's place in Mindanao. That's a sign if nag-work endorsement ni Inday Sara at saka anong vote ng mga pro Duterte kasi we also ask uh, yung mga survey respondents natin kung ano na yung partisanship nila eh.
Yeah.
And a quick answer, I think we will get to that later, but the quick
Yeah, sorry,
answer,
sorry, I couldn't let go of the IME number going up. But just to be clear, Pacquiao also had the bump, diba? Again, gets ng tawa I'm mentioning Pacquiao because he also was endorsed by Lenny, right? So it looks like the endorsement, at least there was a bump, but definitely not like Duterte fist bump level bump, right? It's pitik lang, more like nudge lang ang nangyari dito, no?
yeah, then so mukhang maybe from our standpoint, maybe ang story dito is that these endorsements came in late, mukhang medyo crystallized na yung preferences ng mga tao and then when it came in parang okay di sige and then you know it only convinced some rather than really alter the state of the race.
Sayang naman ang effort ni Daryl. Si Daryl Yap pa yung nag-effort. Tapos kung yun lang kay Lenny, parang wala lang eh. Parang, ang bait ni Pacquiao sa akin. Ganyan, ganyan. Pero yung isa, nag-effort talaga. Nag-charot-charot pa sila. Tapos 1 point lang Pacquiao, 2 point. Parang, well, that's not very... But are you gonna show saan yung increase regional ba? Yung kay Aimee or across the board? More or less?
Let me
No bump?
show
Sorry.
that. So halimbawa here no you'll see na actually si Aimee um for if we go back in time, mga ano pa, not in time, but last year, medyo consistent actually yung decline niya sa WR numero surveys. And you know, alam niyo na, ito na yung story, di ba, na talagang weird na weird tayo na bang ginagawa ni Ivy, bumabagsak tuloy yung, nagko-collapse tuloy yung numbers niya. It was only in this survey, itong last na survey namin, na nagkaroon siya ng small bump. And if you will look at here, he came from around 20%, no? Ito yun, yung medyo nasa gitna si Ivy, no? And then if I will just go back now at 26 no. So 'di ba? And you factor in the margin of error, Again, not enough to put her in a safe place, but yes, mukhang meron namang nag-pick up kahit papaano ng endorsement ni Inday Sara.
Yung favorite ko si Philip Salvador tsaka si Willie Revillame. Saan ba yung numbers nila?
Let's go back. Ito, si
Yeah,
Willie,
women's not doing well in your surveys, no?
yes. I think sa iba, no, kasama si Willie,
Okay,
no.
yeah, pasok siya.
And yung pinapaliwanag ko nga din na hindi naman din ako surprised if, eventually pumasok siya or pasok talaga siya because look at these numbers, no? 22.6%. And then right outside lang sa
Yeah.
tinawag namin likely winning circle, that's not too far, no, from halimbawa, Kiko Pangilinan at 24.5. We're just really talking and about your small number of votes. I've heard you in your mga different na interviews din, Richard, 'di ba? You're right na talagang very tight, or we might be talking about less than a million votes
Hundreds of
here.
thousands. Yeah, hundreds of
Yeah.
thousands can make all the difference in the world. Yeah.
And because of that, it's harder, no? In terms of the survey, yung ranking, ganyan. Kaya alam na natin, these are likely places. And why also very important that we don't see this survey as tapos na yung laban, no? Mukhang hindi pa, especially for the last places.
Absolutely. Pero medyo nag-fossilize, hindi na-crystallize. Medyo fossilized na yung top 5 to 7, I would even say, no? Medyo, if you're in that spot. Although, I think sila Ben medyo, good morning, good evening sa mga kaibigan natin dyan. Si Sir Ben Tulfo. If you are Ben Tulfo na hindi admin, na walang machine, should you be worried with this number at 6th to 7th lang? Or
I'm
you think solid enough na yan? Again, of course, this is probabilistic analysis, hindi
yeah.
tayo damauring. So, okay.
I'm actually worried, yun nga, na tong position ni Ben Tulfo because, as we all know, we're catching market votes here, and then yung numbers kapag walang context, kaya medyo sasablay ka eh. Yung konteksto, alam natin, medyo hindi nangangampanya si Ben Tulfo compared to the others. Pagka tinignan mo, hindi siya masyadong talaga nagmo-move on the ground. And then, not the machinery, wala siyang advantage ng machinery. So all that's going for him is really the Tulfo brand name. And it's very possible on election day na yung ating mga kababayan makitang dalawa, Erwin na lang ako, wag na muna si Ben, or something like that, no, something. Or yung mga may machinery sa ilalim niya, tignan mo, no, lahat ng nasa ilalim niya,
Yeah, he's 5 points
admin.
very ahead of Camille Villar. I mean, that can, well, I don't know about Camille, but I mean, if you're Bong Revilla or Abby Binay, if you're government and, you got the machinery behind you, you're not too far away from Ben. You're just like
Yes.
5 points behind. That's very
Yeah,
unthinkable,
even
right?
even mga opposition candidates, Mama Aquino, Kiko Pangilinan, until the very last days of the campaign, nakakapag-secure pa din ng LGU endorsements, no? Minsan mga vote-rich provinces. And so Ben should be worried about that kasi
Yeah.
yun yung kailangan lang na bump para ma-bump off ka din, no, from the Magic 12.
Yeah, so he's still 50-50, you would say, probabilistically.
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, although, last point before we go to the next slide, sorry about that, Kilif, because I really want to break this down. This is very important. Sa Okta nakita ko and others, medyo when Ben entered the race, it ate into to Erwin's number. Is that what you also see? Na hindi naman totally mutually exclusive or nag-split, pero Erwin was like 60 points above in some of the surveys last year. He's now barely 50%. So even if number one siya most likely, I would bet na mas mag number one siya kaysa kay Bongo, which is of course important symbolically speaking. Still the Tulfo is kind of, they ate into each other's, right?
I think so too, no? Lalo na if you will go back to yung wala pang official list ng COMELEC sa WR numero survey, mas malayo si Erwin Tulfo, no? Bago pa talaga nagkasiguruduhan na Ben Tulfo is also running. And Sir Erwin also might be experiencing na medyo since the Duterte issue, and then as we all know, medyo nag-consolidate na energize yung Duterte base. Medyo victim din siya that he has to defend the top position, and medyo na-weigh down siya nung ganong klaseng Duterte energy against alyansa
Hindi
candidates.
yung Elrich.
Ano?
Hindi apektado sa El Richie. Fairness, I got through the El Rich episode. Dami na comment. Sir, ano masabi niya kay Sir El Rich? Sabi ko, sino si El Rich? It's like, okay. Okay, okay, let's go, let's go. Baka hindi na tayo matapos. Sorry, Kim. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, just telling people na may basihan tong mga numbers na to. Kasi, like, naman people, they just want to see what they want to see. So I'm just trying to show to people, it makes sense. These numbers perfectly make sense to me.
Yes, yes. And even if our survey would also say na okay, the 15 candidates we think based on the survey that we did are the people fighting for the Magic 12, I wouldn't also discount Benhur Abalos pa din, no, at the rank 17. It's not the end, no. And for sure ngayong
Exactly.
sabi, naghahanap pa yan ng makinaryang may dadagdag sa sarili niyang boto, no. 21% Marcoleta, nakikita din natin, no? Some of the more worrying developments. Surprising dark horse, but also getting left and right endorsements din sa Luzon. I would assume has something to do with, the Iglesia vote as well, no? So I wouldn't be surprised if that's part of the conversation.
Hindi na ba ano na yan? Parang embedded na yan? Parang, kumbaga, the INC factor is already there in his number? Hindi ba kaya ano na yan?
Yes, pero ang pwede kasing nilalaro on the ground is that it could be a trade-off with mga local officials that, they will be carried by INC for the local elections, but they have to give some votes for Marcoleta. Kaya ano din yan something to watch out for by election day, how mga local allies nila will deliver. Di ba?
Okay, let's
Uh,
go to the next slide na. Sorry, Cliff.
sure.
Ako makulit na estudyante. Ang dami tanong.
Okay lang.
Irita na yung professor.
So, do you have some interest here?
So, sino yung mga pinaka-dramatic changes?
Yes. So I think ang makita natin dito ay definitely yung mga alyansa candidates, no, medyo may decline ng mga middle part, no, but closer now to the election day, no, mukhang nade-defend naman nila yung posisyon nila.
Nag-reverse bell curve sila.
Oo.
Nag-reverse
And
bell.
one of the more interesting na medyo consistent, halimbawa, Bam Aquino here, no? Consistent, no? Kahit slow, pero steady increases. So, ito yung parang, well, the other is also Camille Villar na medyo consistent din yung increase, no? So, ang ano dito ay, sinong magpipick at the right moment, which is on election day. And there are some stagnant din na numbers, no? Halimbawa, si Mayor Abby Binay or Ping Lacson, meaning they're still in the Magic 12, no, but their numbers haven't really changed since the start of the year. Francis Tolentino, very vocal on the West Philippine Sea issue, medyo mababa yan sa aming survey, sa iba-ibang survey. Tumaas siya sa amin itong last na survey, pero baka too late na kung mahabol pa come election day. So these are some of the interesting, and then of course you have Bongo, tsaka si Bato, biggest beneficiary talaga yan nung
Duterte.
arrest. Kaya isip ko baka ano ba yon? Ang weird siguro din na that's a blessing for them. Kasi si Bato was already in the very dangerous spot before it happened eh. Ngayon mukhang it's likely that he will be re-elected.
But to be fair, no, tama yung sinasabi ni Robin Hood Padilla na huwag tayong maging kampante dito sa rankings na mga kasama natin because, well, yung isa baka makulong na rin. So, like, sa parang, like, it's not an ideal actually situation for any of the versions of the opposition, right? Although later we can talk about it's not also ideal for BBM. I mean, like, if you look at it on the surface, you can say, oh, panalong alyansa, or sasabihin ng DDS, oh, tingnan mo, taas ng ranking ng mga bata natin. I mean, every side can claim victory and at the same time defeat, right? It's a very interesting, like, pero sabihin ng pink opposition, despite everything between the rock and the hard place, we're still within the race. Sasabihin ng DDS, despite everything, top 5, may dalawa kami. Sasabihin ng Alyansa, despite everything, majority kami, di ba? But pag kinurot mo yan, like if you scratch the surface, biglang actually there's so many layers to it that we can discuss. But can we go to the next slide muna, Cleve?
That's why it's very important eh. Sorry, I'll just go to the
I thought that,
here's
maganda yan.
here's by area, no? Here's by area, you see na yung Metro Manila, medyo different siya from the other areas, but definitely Mindanao was medyo different na preference din. Pero syempre magandang i-contextualize to na hindi pantay-pantay yung number of voters in these different areas, no? 6 out of 10 voters, 6 in 10 voters, around more or less 60, Metro Manila and Luzon yan. So yung bulk of voters nandyan. So the preferences of those people would matter on the actual outcome. And then the rest of the voters are divided in Visayas and Mindanao. So, di ba, in Metro Manila, you see that it's more open to more opposition candidates, no? Like Bam Aquino and Kiko Pangilinan. And very, very interestingly, wala sa top 12 si Bato, no? It's only Bongo who is present in the top 12 among mga Duterte allied na candidates, no? And then Amy is just barely hanging in there at rank 12, no? So siguro yung mga, kasi may loyalist network naman ng mga Marcoses sa Metro Manila.
Not sure these are the loyalist ones.
Ha?
I don't think these are the loyalist ones. The other side of the equation. Parang feeling ko halos wala lahat ng loyalists ay mas anti-Amy pa kaysa anti-Sara. But no, but this makes sense. Again, this makes sense. So Metro Manila number one, si Erwin almost exactly at his average. I mean, his overall average around 50%. Tito Soto a little bit higher than that. Ben much higher than that. He's just 35%, di ba? Dun sa overall niya, but he's 41%. So makikita mo na ito yung mga walang bailiwicks, mga tulfos, but they more than compensate by having a solid performance at national level. Here, makikita mo naman, in fairness, Bongo has a national footprint, hindi lang siya regional basis. And then Bam and Kiko do very well also in Metro Manila compared to their overall average. So Kiko is like what? 7, 8 points beyond his 22 lang yata siya, di ba? Pero 30 na siya sa Metro Manila. I think what's more interesting to me, bro, is so what's the Visayas picture? Because I think the Luzon and Mindanao medyo understandable considering the
Yeah.
alignment of forces.
Yeah.
But Visayas is for me the purple state, if I can use the term, di ba? Ito yung
Oh,
interesting.
yes. Ay, ako naman ang tawag ko sa Visayas parang ano the center, the Meridian Wall, kasi medyo halo-halo kasi yung probinsya talaga ng Visayas and yung tradition nila sa voting eh. Kaya feeling ko din, it ends up in a very medyo confusing, weird, halo-halo na state. And ito yung itsura, no? So may mga onti lang silang favorites, no? Tulfo and Bongo, the same as the rest of the country. And then may mga may mga more or less same national preference pero nag-iba-iba lang yung kanilang mga ranking, no? So Bato is way lower, Camille is a bit higher, no? Pero yung nasa taas more or less the same, no? And then mas dito Pacquiao gets in, no? At rank 11, no? Then si Bam is at rank 10, no? And this is so ibig sabihin higher than the average niya sa national, no? So medyo maybe what's going for him here yung mga mga opposition, maybe Iloilo votes, no, and other related areas, no. Pero yun nga dahil mix yung tradition of voting behavior, you have some areas in Visayas na nagfi-flip, no, um from admin to voting for opposition, then you get this medyo very mixed na result.
But this is where you see, because I saw the pulsation I saw some internal numbers, let's just say. Baksak sa Visayas.
Nasabi mo na!
Hindi binigay ng pulsation sa akin, just to be clear. Kamusta Sir Ronald? The good Ronald. Ang tawag kay Ronnie Holmes, the good Ronald. Kasi the bad Ronald yung isa.
The other one, wag naman. Dapat the favorite.
The good one. The good one. No, but no, it makes perfect sense. Kasi baksak siya sa Visayas ng double digit pa. Kasi remember, last year he was easily within top 12, even 11 or 10 even. And then yung Visayas number. So, marami nagkakamot ng ulo. Bakit ang baba ni Kiko sa Visayas kaya? Is that the food vlog stuff? Did that backfire kaya? Because I want to also talk about the development we just saw kanina lang, this endorsement by Gwen Garcia. Sorry, sabi ko Gwen Garcia. Ayan naman tayo, Tito Boy Soto. This matters because Cebu is like one of the most vote-rich provinces in the country next to Cavite, etc. So, big for Kiko yan eh. Like, if you look at these numbers and then you're looking at what's happening today and then the coming days, siguro if your Kiko would say, siguro in the Visayas, I can have some bump there, di ba? Hopefully after this thing. So it looks like your survey also reflects that, the Visaya decline. Ikaw, do you have any of course, we don't have a scientific survey, pero ano kaya anecdotal reason na ang bumaba si Kiko? Like, do you have his numbers from Visayas before? Have you seen
Okay.
yeah, I'm trying to figure out bakit siya
Okay.
bumaba sa Visayas. So, so your
Uh,
survey also reflects that eh. Medyo mahina siya sa Visayas. And you would have thought, 'di ba, because of his background, 'di ba? And usually Pinks do well in Visayas. Lenny did very well in Visayas. He's really underperforming in Visayas. I'm wondering what happened. Is it that those food vlogs that went wrong, or more like
so
he was trolled for that? Yeah.
actually, Kiko is 13th in the rest of Luzon, and then in Visayas is 14th, no? So
Ah,
medyo just really
mm,
right outside the Magic 12 preference. Pero in terms of the vote share, it says na sa Visayas 27% compared to the Bong Revilla here na last placer natin at 31 percent. So I think baka kasi ano din as you
mm,
know, if in the final weeks of the campaign, my observation is that targeted siya ng disinformation.
yeah.
Medyo hirap kasi dahil tight yung race, any small movement might affect talaga your chances. And
Correct.
kahit nga mag-stagnate lang yung numbers mo, if the others are going up, you lose your rank So that might be what's happening here. Pero I think open conversation, siguro sa next, pag-aaralan ko ng mabuti,
Interesting,
uh,
diba?
mortem, no? What's happening, no? Bakit biglang medyo na-drop ng onti ng Visayas si Kiko? Or baka yun, with the Gwen
Surprise.
Garcia, you never know.
You never know.
That,
Yeah, like if Kiko makes it, I would say that and probably the state machine. But the Mindanao one is interesting to know. Pato is the champion of Mindanao at 70%, even higher than Bongo at around 63%. And it's interesting, no? So obviously, if you're Philip Salvador, Jimmy Bundok, or Marcoleta, you're thankful to Mindanao, but your numbers are still nowhere close to where Bato is. Bato is like 70%. Talagang
yeah,
digong level, no? If not more. And then Kiboloy is only 25%. So baka Davao lang to, do? Parang ganun lang siguro bumoto sa kanya. So this is where you see interesting na hindi ganun ka-dominant ang DDS as you would have thought. You would have imagined if it's Mindanao, it's all green, right? But yes, given na in Bato and Bongo. But Erwin is not too bad at 26-27%. Bong Revilla almost 30%. So Camille Villar, I'm actually interested because Cynthia Villar did very well in Mindanao nung 2019 election kaya nag-top siya. But Manny Pacquiao, well, actually
yan
surprisingly,
ang medyo kawawa dito si Manny Pacquiao in Mindanao because this is supposedly so
he's
big.
lower than Kibuloy. Ooh,
Yeah,
wow,
yeah.
that's interesting.
So, well, anecdotally, 'di ba, parang people following his campaign have also been saying na nahihirapan siyang mag-campaign sa Mindanao, obviously because of the issue with the Dutertes, no? So he's been also saying na in in Mindanao, hindi niya ma-mobilize yung base niya pero this is really his base supposedly kasi if you look at Bato, if you can get that number,
Man,
kahit wala siya sa top 12
70%.
ng Metro Manila and Luzon, na kaya siyang hatakin ng ganong kalaki. And then, of course, and the Alyansa candidates, they're also under attack in Mindanao. So that also adds to the problem of Manny Pacquiao because he's associated with the Alyansa.
Just for the perspective in terms of yung weight. So sabi mo
Mm.
around 50-60% ng Luzon, Mindanao is what, 20% ng total
Yeah.
vote?
Yes, so
And
mga
then
two.
Visayas, what, 20-25%? Parang ganun din.
Yes, yun din, oo. So parang yung hatian parang 6-2-2, parang medyo more or less,
Okay.
more or less. Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, let's go to the next one. This was very enlightening. Again, it makes perfect sense to me. Actually, nothing shocks me with these numbers. But then again, like Manny is really punching well below his weight. So, I mean, had Manny had Mindanao level numbers you would expect from another champion of Mindanao, he would easily be in top 12 right now. Remember, I mean, even if he had numbers like Mark Oleta level,
Yes.
Manny Pacquiao would have been in a good spot now, which is quite interesting. Like, double digit ang lead ni Mark Oleta, kay Pacquiao in Mindanao. That's quite interesting. Yeah.
And then by partisanship, I think
Ay, wait,
very interesting
sorry.
as well.
Can we go to the yung ABC ganon din? Alam mo
Okay.
naman, aking my own reactionary middle class thesis. Let's
Uh,
prove my thesis one more time.
Aaway ka at may aawayin ka ata eh.
Yeah, yan. Yan na naman. Ma-prove na naman. This is the Walden Bello Haydarian School of Thought. Okay, okay. Ito yung mga kaibigan natin na mata pobre. Oh, yung mga kaibigan
I've
natin.
also, I've also written about it na, yun, di ba, paulit-ulit na natin sinasabi. Ah, the higher
It's
income
the
you
most
are,
important
the
to
more
me.
likely you be to be a Duterte supporter. The more education you have also in the exit poll, SWS po to, hindi po WR numero noong 2016. 'Di ba? The likelier also that you'll vote for Duterte. So it's really 'di ba? Also an upper class phenomenon.
Yeah, this is okay. I won't use the word reactionary, but sige. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Ito ABC. Okay, yung mga kaibigan natin na yung mga kaano natin, kakonyo natin. Number one, Bongo, 55%. Ayan. This is exactly what we saw in 2016, 2019, 2020. This is the Duterte decade whereby the Duterte aligned candidates do best among the highest supposedly educated, the most resourceful. Obviously, ABC is really C, B at most, right? Because A is like
Yes, correct.
nasa
Yeah.
loob ng helicopter na, hindi na lang dasma. Nasa BGC helicopter sa quad.
So you mean you? Ikaw yan, no?
No, 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 no. I'm in the yacht. I'm offshore. Like, no, but joking aside, bro. Number one, Bongo, 55% ABC. ABC is what? 10%? Barely? Or
Yes. 7 to 10. So even less sometimes, yeah.
7 to 10? Okay, whatever. Still, biggest share, 55% Bongo. Ito Class D, ang number one is Erwin Tulfo at 49%. Bongo is way lower at 42%. Class E, Bongo is at 45%. So, Bongo does way better among ABC, although their total, numbers is lower. But as a share, the DDS does the best among the ABC, right?
Mm.
55% Bongo, 41% Bato. 42% class deal si Bongo. Bato is only 32% among kababayan natin na working class. And this Dino, hindi nyo na-separate D1, D2, no? But
Di na,
we have
oo.
an internal understanding kasi yung D1 versus D2 is ito yung informal sector versus yung mga may titulo, ganon. But I won't be surprised, again, seeing some consistency because I saw the D1, D2 in other surveys. And then sa Class C, it's again. So it's quite interesting, no, bro, na kitang-kita mo talaga, ABC talaga. our, our ABC is not very Thailand ABC. Let's just put it that way. Kasi mamaya pag-usapan natin future forward,
Yeah.
no?
But also I guess ano din dito bilang tayo marami tayo laging conversation about this. Kaya din challenge also siguro yung theory natin ng ano ba ang class politics kasi makikita mo din na medyo mahirap i-figure out din yung ideological leaning nung
Yeah.
kung class lang, no? Hence, mas nagiging mahirap talaga yung mag-mobilize for political reforms, political changes kasi parang hindi straightforward yung story eh. Tingnan mo yung class D, class ABC, di ba? Parang, okay, we want Kiko and Bam, but we also want Bongo and Bato. And in fact, we really want we're really going strongly for them, di ba? That's a very odd way of combining your Senate preferences. Kanina, yung bipartisanship, di ba? Yung opposition, medyo sorry, hindi pa pala natin napapakita yung bipartisanship, no? Pero makita mo
Let's go
din
to that. Yeah, sorry. I just had this is my quirk. Like I like always pointing out the ABC vote just to push back against the mata pobre kaibigan natin diyan. Yeah, yeah.
no? Ito, 'di ba? Parang itong by opposition, halimbawa, you see that medyo rarely talaga yung ideological voting for Filipino voters eh. Yun naman talaga yung challenge. Kasi tingin mo, 'di ba? Bam Aquino, Kiko Aywan, Heidi Mendoza, this is the only parang place ng demographic breakdown namin where she shows up, no? Um sa opposition, she's strongly rated. But these are also the same voters that still place Bongo at rank 10, although definitely lower, no? You look at pro Marcos, 'di ba? Medyo nasa ilalim si Bongo, pro Duterte, medyo kamukha ng Mindanao yung story. Kaya ang maganda dito, tinitignan ko sa pro Duterte, where's Amy Marcos, no? So she's not really in the top 12, no? So mukhang hindi naman ganun ka-powerful
This
yung
this this, this is the most sabog. No, I mean this is not on you, right? It just shows ng lab. Like opposition number two is Erwin. Abby's number four, Pia. Camille. I mean, Camille pwede na sa akin ngayon because medyo out there na, di ba? Like, why is Amy not there, di ba? Parang, dito mo makita na Kasi nag-Konyo survey ako, ay sorry, Kalya survey ako the other day. Pare, I got out Socrates by yung mga kausap natin. Like, na-Socrates ako ng mga tao. Like, I thought I'm playing this game of, like, and then sa dulo, ako pa yung, ha? Paano napunta
Example,
doon?
example, example,
Na parang
example.
interesting. I was leading the in a very Socratic stealthy way in a certain direction. Nung una parang oh mahalaga yung ayuda kasi ganyan tapos mamaya hindi kaya naman lahat ng ayuda ang mahalaga rule of law. Like wait, biglang naging DDS na yung discussion parang whoa! Parang that was very intense. I got out Socrates by yung mga ibang kaibigan natin sa Konyo survey ko. Ito yung mga kaibigan natin na working class ang mga nakausap. Ako yung Konyo doon sa survey, hindi sila. But bro, parang this makes sense kasi actually pag kinausap mo maraming sa mga kababayan natin, I don't think medyo defined yung and when I talk about political parties and ideology, of course I knew that pero nag-switch off na yung mga ibang kausap. Parang ano pinagsasabi nito, di ba? Like this is where you see we're very ideologically heterogeneous. Of course, ang term ng kaibigan natin si Adel Webb is di ba? Ako I use the term ideological ano yan? Ambivalence.
Ambivalent, yeah,
She
ambivalence,
just
yeah.
used something political. Ako, I use the term ideological ambivalence, meaning, like, pwede na, hindi na pwede. Parang it's more like a vibe. It's a vibe thing rather than a framework. Diba? Kitang-kita mo dito eh. So when I say sabog, I'm not talking about you guys. I'm just saying it just reflects the heterogeneity or the protean character of our
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
ganun na lang. Para maganda, baka makancel tayo.
Yan. And kaya nga parang it feels like actually, parang you make this one or two, maybe three pushing it na choices consistent to your imagination ng ano yung partisanship mo. But the rest, you just rely on the usual then criteria. Big names, traditional political families, and then yun na, no? Pero so at least may konti kang di ba, opposition ka, at least you make it Bamen Kiko at the top, Duterte ka, di ba, to and Bongo at the top, no? But then you still mix it with the traditional names.
Okay, again, all of these things confirm basically our political sociology research for the past decade, right? Everything you and I have been writing on Dutertismo, it's still holding. It's still holding. Kaya nga sabi ko, never underestimate the Dutertes because may hold talaga yung brand of politics nila eh. The vibe is still there. Okay, let's go to the next slide. May isa ka pang slide, bro, di ba?
I think yung no, you want the
Oo.
number of no, wait lang sorry.
Yung Duterte Aligned?
Tignan
Parang taas
sila.
na niya, ah.
Oo,
Wow.
yan, no?
Sa inyo,
So
2 out
this
of
is
5.
our
Oh,
isa
wow.
sa mga very important question in this final survey that we did ay yung mapping ng partisanship. Kasi kanina na pinakita natin yung iba't ibang
Wow.
camp pero again hindi equal yung numbers na bawat camp, no? It looks like the Dutertes are, they have the upper hand here. So mga Duterte supporters na sumagot sa survey namin, 40% sabi nila maka Duterte sila. This is the highest that we've seen since we started asking this question, no? And may mga nagsasabi nga, no, in other surveys medyo bumaba na. Totoo, actually, in the past surveys, declining yung nag-identify as Duterte, but this was a very recent pick up sa numbers nila. San yan mostly nang galing? Galing sa mga Marcos supporters, no? If you compare it to our past surveys, no? Pero yung Marcos supporters na disperse sila in two ways. Iba napunta sa Duterte, pero yung mga iba napunta sa second biggest block, which is parang naging independent sila at 31%. So baka wait and see pa to saan sila ngayon papanik, no? Then you have 15% remaining with the Marcos, and then the opposition, yung nakikita nyo dito, we've mentioned some names sa opposition kasi medyo hindi din
Yeah.
tayo sure sino opposition. So we've mentioned VP Lenny, Senator Risa, no, and their other allies at 14%. So this is how it looks like right now, no, and then obviously yung isang interesting for me is that the 40% aligns so much with the numbers of Bongo for Senate, no, at around parang
Okay,
38.
and then a bit plus here and there, medyo may sprinkles of pepper and salt. I want to say something very important. I think if you're looking at
Go ahead.
these numbers, had we had a parliamentary system, tapos ng laban. Because this is a number that the Christian Democrats would love to have right now in Germany. And at barely 30%, they're now basically in charge of the government, right? In Germany. So, I'm just telling you guys, yung mga iba na sabi na mag-parliamentary na tayo. If You got 4 out of 10. You're basically the dominant, almost hegemonic party, given how power tends to distribute nowadays among parliamentary systems. So, wala na yung era ng 60%, 50%. 40% is almost hegemonic by 21st century standards. So if you look at the regression analysis and also, actually, had we been parliamentary right now, and if these were the numbers, wasak lahat. Like the Dutertes would be the hegemonic bloc in the parliament.
Can
Like,
you imagine yung independent, halimbawa kung parliamentary tayo, magiging mga small parties pa yan, di ba? Mga kanya-kanya pa yan. To be able to, kahit majority yung 60% na, na hindi Duterte, to be able to make that coalition, wala, hindi kakayanin yun. Very fragile yun. Magko-collapse yung parliamentary government mo agad-agad, di ba? And then, you return to power the
I mean,
Duterte.
this is basically BJP's number at Modi. I mean, Modi BJP in India is more or less around this number, right? So all they needed is a second party na around 10 to 12%. They got already the party, they control it. So if you have this, well, this is not too far from our Magyar friends, right? Like Victor Orban's party, right? This
Oh,
is
pero medyo ano na,
basically,
medyo mas naging talagang super hegemonic na kung
yeah.
if there's such a ano no, if there's such a term no, sina Orban no in Hungary no. So yeah, ano ikaw what do you how do you make sense of this no? You know, obviously, 'di ba? Parang medyo recent talaga tong change na to, but
Ako, against the grain of other surveys and all, ang basa ko dito is maraming soft DDS ay nag-rally behind the hardcore DDS. So I think hardcore DDS is probably only 15 to 20 max. But they got a 20 extra because everyone failed to create a compelling narrative after Duterte being whisked away to the ICC, right? So the admin lost a chance. We discussed this ilang episode na tayo, like with you, with everyone na that was the chance for BBM to rally the nation and say, etong usapin ng rule of law, ito dangal na ating bansa. Ganyan. He didn't do that. He softballed it. You know, ang basa ko talaga dito is BBM is wishful thinking na soft landing ang mangyari. And guess what? You go for soft landing, the other side goes into you with the baseball bat. Ganon kasimple lang yan. So
eh,
the soft Dutertes have rallied behind the hardcore DDS. And here we are. It perfectly makes sense. Remember, Digong got 39% of the votes. This is 4 out of 10. This is basically the
ah,
constituency that brought Digong
and
to power. So, yeah.
in 2022 elections, Marcos 58%. So that's like Duterte and Marcos numbers here, medyo 55% kayo. So then ito yung naging biyakan no, but of course what's I completely agree with your observation, and now what's also kind of like worrying is the numbers of those in the opposition is that it doesn't really move that much no.
Well,
uh
this is what will be the last part of our discussion. Like, because my pre-mortem, if I can use the term, is that surprisingly, dun sa mga pinaka-competitive natin candidates, supposedly from the pink camp, either yung iba, halos iniwas yung issue ng ICC and iniwas yung issue ng impeachment, or sinabi nga nung isa, literally, political issue lang yan. Yung isa, puro food vlog lang nakita ko sa kanya, to be honest. Uh, so I would have expected them to go guns blazing because I don't know, bro. 2016, 2019, 2022, like maybe it's time to be a little bit more innovative. Pero parang ano comfort zone pa rin ang nangyari. Kaya nga, weirdly, the only tough guy on, for instance, West Philippines, the issue was the Ronald Llamas of Digong. I'm talking about Tolentino, and walang kumagat. So wala, nalaos na rin yung issue ng West. Walang pumatol, di ba? And so I think this is it. The lesson here is very simple, bro. If you don't take the initiative, kakainin ka ng buhay ng mga Duterte or mga supporters nila. They always dictate the terms of engagement because they're always the aggressive party. So, of course, pinagtatawanan natin minsan yung strategy nila, branding nila, pinagtatawanan natin. But bro, fortune favors not brave in this case. Fortune favors the like Bardagulan.
Crazy.
Bardagulan,
Fortune favors the
basically.
chaotic.
The Bardagulan, is that like fortune favors Bardagulan? Let's give it to them. Like no matter what you can say, at least they're present. They're all over the place. Like 70% content online political is bato, right?
Ah,
70%, 80% is now PT Duterte is all over the news. Like so, kahit pinagtatawanan sila and all, they dictate the terms of engagement. They still dominate the narratives. Where is BBM in this discussion? Lenny here and there, and then yung mga candidates. So yeah, this is exactly what I've been warning. Remember when Trump won, immediately I said the populist comeback story is a lesson for the world, right? Not like Trump is the first one. I can go back to Berlusconi. I can go back to our good friend Orban, our good friend. But this is exactly what I was talking about. If you don't take the initiative, you don't go for G, they're gonna bring down the whole house, right, and take over whatever is left. And this is exactly what I've been talking about.
And we're,
The
you know, we're
parliamentary system, they would be in power now, completely in
we're
power.
we're 'di ba parang unfortunately we're returning to that theme na as we have learned in 2016, 2019, 2022, Dutertismo, this kind of like really new populist politics, old but new, alam mo yun, new and but old, um, is really something that we must take seriously in a way that we should fundamentally try to change our ways. Otherwise, 'di ba, this is the dynamic eh, 'di ba? Isipin mo, what is the 2028 landscape if it stays this way. If
Well, Sarah
given
is number one, right? Sarah is number one for you for
yes,
president.
it still is, no? And
That's what
if
I'm
you look
saying.
at numbers halimbawa ni wari, Bam Aquino is the parang better performing na opposition candidates in our survey. He's at 28, 'di ba? Ganyang percent, no? Even if he reaches 30, that's very close to what Vice President Leni Robredo has been able to mobilize in 2022. I think
As
20
president, by the way, this is just one
as
vote.
president,
Although
right?
12 ang options mo, so that's not the most impressive, to be honest. Like, and
That's
wow,
yeah.
bro,
Then,
this is crazy, yeah.
di ba? Of course, this is a it's not a simple challenge, no? Pero again, the lesson is that if we keep doing the same things again, and I think as an observer, I sometimes feel that that's the way that we're going, no? Then you get the same numbers again.
Well, we keep on doing the same thing, expecting different results. Diba? Einstein had a term for that. But um, let's look forward because I think we have done the pre-mortem. Because the point ko is, of course, Bam and Kiko theoretically can still make it, but the fact that we are in this situation after everything that was exposed, diba? That tells you mukhang may problema talaga. That Dutertismo is still the only game in town. Progressive leftists, academic people always they make fun of right-wing populists. Walang ideology mga yan, sabog yan. But dude, my understanding is that they're the closest thing to a coherent ideology as far as Philippine politics is concerned. At least alam mo na saan sila tataya dun sa issue ng EJK, sa issue ng West Philippine Sea. Actually, mas sabog yung iba eh. Like, okay, what is the. So,
And of course, we're worried about the election outcomes, but we're also worried kasi nagki-crystallize din sa, or nagfo-fossilize as you like to use,
yeah,
na
fossilized
nagfo-fossilize
na ako
kasi
eh.
yung attitudes ng mga kababayan natin on, halimbawa, war on drugs. Di, okay lang pumatay. Grabe, di ba? Parang I feel like it will take several generations just to uproot that kind of attitude that it's okay to violate human rights. It's okay to destroy democratic institutions. At mga malalalim na kalaban yan. I mean, I'm not saying that elections is not important, but I'm saying that yung beliefs din ng mga tao, ordinary people, nag-harden because of the way that the 30s has been succeeding in the in those narrative wars as well, 'di ba? Kaya ang hirap tuloy, 'di ba? I'm not sure, 'di ba parang hindi pala I'm not sure. It's not hard to imagine na yung paligid natin, yung mga, 'di ba, yung mga barumbadong diyan, nagda-drive at kung ano pa mang mga aksidente, 'di ba? Yung joke natin, nako, ano 'yan? DDS 'yan, 'di ba? Parang medyo bad joke kasi you just assume that, right? Pero I wouldn't be surprised na hindi yan connected, 'di ba? Kasi you're also there is an impact on the everyday beliefs ng ating mga kababayan if the political order is just the same as this.
Let's go. Well, we're supposed to be forward looking now.
I'll
So
stop it at the screen.
yeah, let's go forward looking para ayan, and nalabas na yung mga amigo Chester. Okay. I hope people understand why I'm using humor. I know maraming si Richard Pabebe. Like, seriously, you want me to give a lecture on like reactionary middle class? You don't want me to go there. Kaya matuwa na kayo, nagpabebe na ako kasi we need to keep our sanity. And like, um, wow. So basically, nag-pre-mortem na tayo. Ako kasi for me, it still matters if a BAM and especially Kiko makes it to the next Senate kasi you need the locomotive, right? Fiscalizer nga, sabi nga ni Gadon, Larry Gadon, di ba? Even Larry Gadon is getting the message na, yes, majority will win will be Alianza, but how much they are really on the side of BBM once they're back in Senate. Like, sobrang ano yan eh. Mas maasahan mo si Kiko to hold the torch, di ba? To carry the torch, di ba? So, having said that, Clive, am I just trying, ano ba to, confirmation bias ba ni Haydarian thesis ba yan? Haydarian is just looking for ways to prove his thesis na the usual opposition just doesn't work. Like, I don't know how many more elections we need to see. Like, the fact that until now, ilang araw na lang, we're still not sure kahit isa makapasok from genuine opposition. And then there are even some saying how genuine is the genuine opposition. Yung isa nga, ayaw nga niya opposition siya eh. Um, but, what is the lesson for Project 2028? I mean, what are the key lessons, Cliff? Should the alternative forces form a grand coalition openly? Because, of course, there could be still a grand coalition, but behind the scenes stealthily. But you're up against Duterte's are like unabashedly fossilized on one side of the equation. They have a regional base, they have a national branding, they have an international OFW following, everything, right? And does this also mean that this kurot-kurot strategy, play it safe, play it cute, maybe makachamba ka, makalusot ka dun sa 12, it doesn't seem as successful as, I mean, 11, 12 in surveys is not really that impressive, to be honest. Like, yes, I know it's hard. This race is hard considering you, but still, like, hindi ba parang you're bringing the bar too low if you're celebrating, oh, we are
Yeah,
still within the range, maybe. Like, it's like,
maybe, yeah, I guess, di ba, parang we can't be doing this every election season. Now we're just, clinging onto the last places and praying that makasabit naman kami, makasali naman kami, di ba? Um, and I guess, di ba, parang the important, kung election lang yung pag-uusapan, di ba, na in many ways kasi yung inability ng opposition camp to even consolidate their win in ABC, for example. Parang imagine that we cannot represent their interests anymore, or at least they perceive that we can no longer represent upper and middle class interests, no? Hindi pa to yung working class interest, right? Parang the appeal of the populace, as the scholarship would say, the appeal of the populace and itong pagiging reactionary ng sometimes middle class, 'di ba? Ay failure din to talaga ng mga uh, supposedly democracy-loving parties to represent broad coalitions, no? And a broad coalition will necessarily involve very uncomfortable alliances. That's just how it works. It will be composed of progressive urban elites. I mean, that's how democracy was given birth to, 'di ba?
I call it
Landlords,
intersectional coalition between,
landlords yan,
literally.
landlords na ayaw
Yeah.
sa mga colonial powers or sa monarchy, but intersecting with some middle class merchants, right? I mean, we this is how democracy was given birth to. I think we need to really pursue how uncomfortable that alliance is na moderates workers, professionals, no? Because otherwise, really, the math is not just mathing, no? If it's going to be purist bubbles, then it cannot be a project that project cannot be embraced by different groups of.
But yun nga eh, like, I don't think the problem now is the purity test, right? Like, the most competitive candidate of the opposition is not even wanting to be tagged as opposition, right? And our good friend, the other Ronald, sige na nga, hindi the good Ronald, but the other said, baka ma-endorse pa nga ng INC yan, which, if you're to believe Trillanes, like, okay, does that mean that that person will go against Sara when push ka? You get what I'm saying? Like, it's not that purity was the issue here. Ang problem ko is that naging kurot-kurot ang style, and then,
Mhm.
hindi rin clear yung kabila. Like, how should I do this? Ang dami na natin kalaban eh. Ang dami nang galit
Huwag mo
sa
ko
atin. But,
idamay, ah. Huwag mo ko idamay, Richard.
oh, you're the professional survey guy. I'm the... we're just supposed to do a chipang version ng ginawa niyo ni Karen na with the big screen and all.
O hindi.
I think the whole Latino
Ah,
vibe got out.
sige. Well, yung other thesis ko naman na,
Sige lang.
I also keep sharing this with you in our other interviews, conversations, no? Na we don't have all the answers, di ba? Parang this is also kind of like an experiment in figuring out. And if you say nga na parang, okay, maybe purity is no longer the problem, pero yung kurot-kurot, baka nga yung ino-offer nating thesis that like the future forward, move forward in Thailand, maybe it's
Sorry, before I forget, purity is no longer the problem. Purity is it's pakyut which is my problem now. Ganun na lang.
ah,
It's not
yeah,
purity, it's
okay.
the pakyut one which disappoints me.
Okay.
Basically, no strong stance on any important core issue. You're just hoping you eke it out a little bit here, there, a little bit here, and you're still what at most in barely 30%. I'm not sure that's a very successful formula. No offense. And if ang sasabihin na Richard, alam naman ang alam mo sa elections and campaigning. Well, last time I checked, I'm not 0 out of 3. I'm like 0 out of 0. So I'm still ahead of 0 out of 3. I'm just saying. So I will choose 0 out of 0 out of 0 out of 3. Right? So like, I'm sorry. Like if you want to play that game with me, I'm gonna say at least ako 0 out of 0. Kaya 0 out of 3. So sorry, like that's where I'm coming from. Am I sounding like the Ronald? The Ronald.
Too much chest hair, I guess.
Yeah, I think yeah, it's the testosterone, bro.
Pero, di parang, well, sige, parang okay, yeah, baka nga yung sa pa-cute, but also baka yung pagse-center nung very ambitious na material, medyo welfareist na agenda. I know that there have been attempts, pero baka kailangan talaga grand ambitions, no? Again, hindi naman ako nagsasabi na ito na, this is the way to win, di ba? Pero that might be na we stand really strongly, no, for welfare expansion and material improvements, no. I mean, medyo ano din medyo patingi-tingi din naman yung mga yung position on halimbawa labor issues, mga big labor issues, no. Housing, no, it's talking about housing, mga ganyan, no. Na kaya when we speak to I think what you want to hear is also kaya when we speak strongly on issues that also matter to us aside from material improvements like human rights, dignity, rule of law, then it doesn't feel like yun lang yung mahalaga sa atin and the rest of the things that matter to everyday Filipinos ay hindi natin inintindi, di ba? Baka. Yeah.
Ako, I mean, I'm not against pakyut. For me actually, alam mo ang na gets. Ang gusto ng tao passionate. Yung real talk, real talker. We saw that with Raul Gandhi. It really worked, di ba? He went that like super konyo guy na pinagtatawanan ng mga Modi people. Next thing you know, nag-listening tour, like guru-guru style, nag-motorbike. Pero real talker siya. Sabi niya, yeah, alam ko, galit kayo sa pamilya ko, Congress Party, sawang-sawa na kayo. Pero wag niyo kalimutan, namatay yung daddy ko, yung lola ko. Like, she reminded them, and we have been here for you. We have not been perfect. Ni-real talk niya, and it worked eh. It worked eh. And then si Modi yung mukhang naging pakyut kasi si Modi purong that grand rising India ganun na hindi nakaka-relate ng tao. So actually, for me, yeah, we're okay na given na yan na hindi pwede purity test.
Charisma ba to? Charisma?
Yeah, charisma kasi is also a mystifying term eh, 'di ba? Parang our understanding of charisma is always parang post hoc. Nung pag nanalo na kasi may charisma, 'di ba? Pero kung hindi nanalo, walang charisma. Kaya I don't want to go into that term eh. Joseph Nye had some attempt and all, but
Max Weber charisma.
I'm still in the Gramsci, kind of life world argument, right? You have to enter the life world of people, and one way is real talk, and you need to show passion. So I'm all for being gamer. I'm a gamer myself, but not as competitive as others. There's medyo hindi ako ganun ako. Like I'm for buduts. I did buduts. I did ipe. I did ano. But you also do the passionate interventions and all of that. Alam ko sinasabi, sige, ikaw na lang, Richard. Parang 0 out of 0 mo ay medyo tignan natin. No, but I think we should know by now what doesn't work eh. Pakyut doesn't work. Purity test doesn't work. I think the next logical thing is a more passionate and multifarious. Medyo may kengkoy, medyo may gaming, medyo may seryoso. Kasi feeling ko makukuha mo yung kiliti ng tao kung makikita naman nila na hindi ka lang monotonous eh. Kung
So
puro ka lang
medyo
isang
ano,
issue,
I
mas
think we see
kasawa din
this
sila eh.
I think sometimes we see this in Mayor Vico Soto, no. Yeah, parang sasagot siya. Eh, 'di ba parang medyo may ano kasi siya, meron siyang sasagutin niya direkta yung
Yung
hindi
barkagul
parang
niya.
oo, nakikipagbardagulan siya from time to time, tas minsan naman mag-address talaga siya ng policy issue para i-convince yung mga kababayan niya sa Pasig. Nagkikengkoy din yan eh si
100%.
'di ba? So baka yung ganon kasi that's the new politics.
At hindi
Maybe.
niya kailangan magpa-cute. I mean, hindi niya. I mean, he's naturally a charismatic guy. So, yun, actually, nakita ko, like, nakita mo yung isang video ni Vico na pumunta doon sa mga hakot na, ano, uy,
Ah,
pare, alam naman natin, di ka taga dito, eh. Parang, wag naman tayo maglokohan, gano'n. Tapos nung una, syempre, intimidating. I mean, he's like 6'1", di ba? He's quite a tall guy. I saw. So, I can understand he could be. And then immediately, he will joke. He will, like,
yeah.
here siya, like, within 1 minute, he had like four versions of him. So, like, exactly, yun sabi ko, yun ang kailangan. And Vico Soto is smart. Like he can speak the policy language. He can sit down with you and I and talk about public policy, right? But he can go also Bardagula and then he can be this charming and nice guy. So I don't know, parang feeling ko yun yung model. So again, we're not the Vico Soto fans club here, but we're just saying na I'm sure there are other guys we can talk about na hindi unfortunately as known, but down the road there are many change makers na feeling ko have that kind of. Now, I want to end on Heidi Mendoza because she's an interesting case, right? No budget, totally no machinery, no background. She's what, 7, 8% in one survey I saw? So that's pretty high. I mean, 7, 8% out of what, 60 million voters or so? Like, she's going to get what, 5, 6, 7 million votes at least, right? That's quite let's talk about Heidi because Heidi Mendoza is an interesting case. Even if she
Yeah.
doesn't win in this race, she's
Oo.
showing us something, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think ano nga eh, ang fearless forecast if there's such a thing. Tingin ko she will be able to approximate yung number ng opposition doon sa self-partisanship. Maybe she can even go as high as, 15%, no. A bit
Wow.
more. I think may ano eh, parang she has a good starting point eh. And to be fair, no, when I listen to Heidi Mendoza, parang yung flavor din na medyo gusto natin na she's very serious about the policy positions na she's taking and talagang anti-corruption, go for checks and balances and auditing. But she presents in a very way na very easily resonating eh, di ba? So yun, baka and then this is her first run. She's not coming, she doesn't have a big machinery. Maybe yan yung
No
mga
machine.
platform, di ba?
Totally grassroots. Totally grassroots. So my point is, you know, no matter what happens, she did the right thing, and I'm very proud of what she has done. Obviously, we had that conversation last time, the other episode about yung positioning niya on certain issues that tama ka, I agree with you na yung hierarchizations of issues na hindi yung issue niya trivial ganun. I completely agree with you there. But ako, I appreciated how Heidi came back and said, okay, I'm willing to have a conversation and dialogue on that. Hindi yung, ganin ako take it or leave it. Hindi siya na ganun eh. So I know that yung ibang mga kaibigan natin from the LGBTQ plus community were not very happy with some of her positioning or her cadence.
Yun
But
lang yun lang siguro yung challenge kapag pagka 'di ba medyo reformist voters, medyo liberal voters, medyo conditional yung support talaga on policy agreements eh. Kaya ang hirap din i-mobilize ng base na ng ganong klaseng constituency and Heidi had a taste of that very very early on eh. So but I think she will learn naman din how to approach that particular base. Yeah.
yeah, so for me, Heidi is one of the breakout stars. I mean, even if she may not make it, I think she has a lot to build on for Project 2028. So clearly, she'll be part of the national conversation for a more democratic, progressive Philippines for years to come. So things no one knows, right? The final survey, quote unquote, is on the election day, but I think from what I see, Heidi has come so far despite the hiccups, let's just put it that way, which we discussed extensively. So I really suggest you guys to check yung conversation natin with Prof. Cleve Arguelles when earlier this year we discussed yung the disagreements and where the passionate criticism of her comes from. At the same time, I think again, if I had this discussion about reaction in middle class, we also have to remember the Philippine liberalism is quite conservative compared to democratic liberalism in the US, right? I think it's more like European liberalism, na medyo conservative, right? But when you say liberal in England or UK, it's very different from liberal in the US, right? So
Mhm.
interestingly, but then again, there's no one-to-one correspondence we can talk about. But all I'm saying is that dapat hindi rin ma-surprise ang tao na ibang tao ay liberal by Philippine definition, but not liberal by your woke quote unquote definition, progressive and etc. At least on all issues, including abortion, divorce, etc. So I think the lesson we got here, ako for me na like purity test doesn't work, but cute also doesn't work. So I'm for passionate politics, politics of passion. And if there's one thing I'll give really to Heidi Mendoza, and I'm willing to defend that, is I think she was very passionate about the issue of transparency, and she was consistent with that. Even if may backlash, even if hindi pinansin yung issue, go, go, go lang siya. So definitely that's one of the lodestars that I think the progressive, liberal, whatever you want to call it, alternative politics should build on. On that note, thank you, Cleve, because ayoko mapahamak ka. You're supposed to be the legit number five check guy, but this was really a political sociology one-on-one class, but done in a punditry way and in a very chipang way compared to the social screen you had with our good friend, my former colleague at ANC, ABS-CBN, Karen. Thank you so much, Cleve. Is there anything people have to check in terms of your data works? Where can they see your full surveys? Is it on your Twitter feed? Where can they find it? Website?
It's WR Numero social media, all of our surveys are there. But also more importantly, mag-shift na kami itong mga last few days before election. We're also publishing our surveys on anong tingin ng mga kababayan natin on the conduct of elections, whether they expect this to be free and fair, how rampant is vote buying going to be based on their expectations, what are their worries when they come to the precinct on election day. So medyo shift ng conversations, but very important because this is one of the most important practices of our democratic rights, di ba? On how we will vote on May 12. So, hopefully you'll also, guys, check out niyo din yan pag lumabas, no? Closer to May 12.
Absolutely. And of course, for me, easily this is the most polarized midterm elections because it's not just pink versus red, it's pink versus red versus green, right? And then within the red, there's like red, orange, and then there's like red, red, green, like it's and then my pink pa na hindi pink daw pero pink naman. I mean, like it's all over the place, right? So this is a very polarized, all
Sapin-sapin midterm. Sapin-sapin midterm elections.
50 Shades of like ito, Battle of the Five Armies. Medyo ganun ang dating niya. Medyo Lord of the Rings. On that note, thank you so much, Cleve. Alam ko, minsan nang bubuli ako and all of that, but I really appreciate our conversation because when I'm with you, the Dutertologist populism, guy comes out in both of us. But the chest hair one is totally natural. That was not planned. I'm surprised. Yung chest hair mo hanggang dito, bro. Ako hanggang dito lang. So, this is
Uh,
for the Latino version. Yours is more Habibi.
hanggang paa actually, hanggang paa.
Dito yung Habibi. Sige, brother. Baka may masabi ako.
Ano lang pinag-uusapan natin dito.
Okay.
Maraming
Okay,
salamat,
sige.
Richard. Maraming
Salamat,
salamat.
brother. Talk to you soon. God bless.